Hey, welcome to Keynotes. I'm your host, Steve Schwab. I'm here today with Mike Mears. I've known Mike Mears. He's been in the industry for a couple decades now and comes from a background of being a professional musician and an entertainer. He's been working in the OTA side and even in the AI portions of the industry, and he's moved over to the staffing side of the business, which is a real curiosity for me. I'm not quite sure why he's decided to do that, but we're about to find out. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey Steve, always good to chat. How you been?
Great. Saw you in London and thought that we should get you on the podcast. Learned about your new direction in the industry and just wanted to find out more about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always good to be a passing ship with Steve Schwab, the USS Steve Schwab. We're always passing
Yeah.
back and forth, right? Yeah, it's been quite a journey the last year or so, and everything from just what the market has done and what technology has done to my own personal journeys too. And ended up landing with Ari over at Extenteam. And funny enough, just like knowing you for a long time, I've actually known Ari for a long time too. My first experience with him was back when I think he was like 21 or 22, and he took a bunch of us when I was at Expedia to Universal Studios, and that was my first experience with Ari. So we've kept
Yeah.
in touch over the years.
So you and I met while you were originally with the OTAs at
That's
Expedia
right.
Group. And I think you were actually my advisor at one point, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was your account manager for a little while. I think it was around the time when you had, I'm trying to remember, maybe 150 units, 200 units, something like that. And I remember a lot of phone calls of just late night stuff going on and just having to go scrub toilets and just all the
Yeah.
things, just constant process and you just getting your hands in the middle of everything. And it always impressed me to have a leader like that would put their hands in the middle of their business. It's more rare than you think.
I appreciate that, Mike. I remember having some really great conversations with you back then. You've moved from the supply side, or excuse me, the demand side of the equation to working then on a private OTA that you're on for a little while. Then you moved into AI
Mm-hmm.
and built a few AI tools and then to Extenteam. And now you're the global head of revenue at Extenteam. But you got there with Ari through some of the tools you built, and you've brought some of that to Extenteam. What did you do, and why was that important?
One of the things that's become really important to me, and even the last time we chatted, it was still important, was to be involved with something that was people first. The more that I spent time in this industry over the years and whatnot, and saw people's lives change, saw property managers provide for their families. I saw the panic that they had whenever technology would happen quickly and there wasn't somebody there to sit them down and be like, it's okay, let's talk through it, let's figure it out. And that just really moved me over the last few years to continue those types of journeys. And part of that was with talking about the AI product that I put out, which was it's basically a vacation rental library for anybody who's trying to start up a vacation business. It's not there to be there for the super pros that have been there for 20 years, but quite frankly, there's people in the space that are just getting started and they don't know what quality means. And I want to help them get that started so that we have better quality in our industry. So it's people first, it's teaching, it's educating, it's doing things that matter, that allow people to provide for their families or have a future forward. They don't know where to turn. Here's a centralized way to do it. The same kind of philosophy tied me to Ari on this particular project going into Extenteam because as Extenteam for years and years have been a staffing service, they hire physical staff to go with a physical property manager, right? It's a hiring VC call center type setup. But what's interesting about all of it is that we've hit an age now where y you can find good ways to utilize and create high quality with those people that you're using and utilize AI at the same time to take care of things like remedial tasks and whatnot. And so one of the big changes that the company was making as I was entering was going into what they are calling a shared services model, which basically allows you to have both the human feel on things that matter and things that need to have a phone call. And things like door locks, pool heat, what time is check-in and check-out can be handled by AI so that the response time for the guest is very quick. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is that your response time, your follow-up and whatnot is what leads to better reviews, to better quality scores, which ranks you up on the OTAs, yada, the snowball just continues to go, right? And so coming into this product, I saw an opportunity to do two things. One, continue the human element, which is important for me, but B, also add an extra spin to this to where we can use our internal employees who are already trained and use them to plug them in and create a plug and play solution that makes it easier for people who are not looking to interview, not looking to hire staffing, to actually have a solution that already has it all built in. So it's a plug and play type of scenario. And so I've been over there with the team working on that and creating the charge over the last 30 days. I've been there for about 30 days now, and I'm just seeing some amazing results out of this and seeing that the market is really ripe for something like this. That ease of use piece is so huge right now, as you, Steve.
Mike, do you think that with the rise of AI that staffing companies are at risk? And what is that risk? And then how is Extend Team trying to solve that problem and create value with the humans versus the AI and then working that entire ecosystem together?
It's been really interesting. I had a hypothesis walking into this that that human layer was going to be the differentiator between a lot of the market and how it's being approached with AI response and guest services and communication. And that has rung true, especially we've had three trade shows in the last month that I've been there. And at all three of them, one of the major differentiators with Extend Team that got people to go was yes, AI can do a lot. AI can do up to 80% of everything that you need it to do, which is great. As long as you tell it what to do and you load in those instructions from, let's say, your property management software, it can rock and roll for you, really. The problem becomes the family that's locked out with a 3-year-old at 3 a.m. AI does not do a good job on that kind of stuff. It's not empathetic. It doesn't know how to really answer it. It doesn't know how to pick up the phone and call the fire department and those things like that. And so having that little extra layer right there goes along a very big narrative that I've heard all year and I heard again in London, which was the best way to get quality out of the technology that we have moving forward is to have a marriage between what should be human led, managed versus what should technology take over. One of the things that I heard Jensen Huang from NVIDIA say, which I thought was really interesting, was that the future of jobs, and this is me just spitballing and saying this, but the future of jobs in the next 3 to 5 years are not going to be about general operational statuses. It's going to be about AI directors and AI managers, people who know how to talk like a human, know how to code like a human, know how to prompt like a human, and then having that human element in the middle to, let's say, play traffic cop on the quality, right? And so that's what Extend Team is doing really good and really well with right now. And again, very low amount of competition in the space that actually offers all these little pieces. And so it's an interesting offering and it's definitely turned some heads.
Yeah, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to in London to listen to Graham Donahue and myself discuss AI on the main stage. For the listeners, if you guys haven't had a chance to listen to that, I think it was a really great discussion with Kate from Guesty and Graham, who's Europe's largest short-term rental operator, and then myself on stage. But we talked about AI and how making sure that as you're using AI, the interactions between you and the guests don't become arm's distance and that the human element is still going to be important. When I'm thinking about either staffing or I'm going to use AI, where should I split the difference? If I'm thinking, should I go with Extend Team or should I just build an artifact in Claude and run automations and agents? Where do I make the decision to either call Extend Team or start vibe coding on Claude?
Yeah, that's a good point because there's plenty of vibe coding you can do nowadays, that's for
Yeah.
sure. It really comes down to qualification and size and whatnot. A big organization that's got a bunch of internal people managing and they've been able to, let's say, define their roles and they're not having to do 4 or 5 different things and it's running rather efficiently, then getting a piece of AI and just running the tool like that on the back end for just normal operational day to day makes a lot of sense. There's no need to have to jump into that boat for sure. But if you're small, or if you're scaling, or if you're in a market that has high churn when it comes to just support in general, when I think about high churn, I think about mountain towns and whatnot, where you've got a lot of your support living 2 hours down the mountain, right? Because it's too expensive to live in town. You can think of Breckenridge or places like that, right? It's very hard to keep butts in seats, long story short, for a long time. They may be only good for seasonal, they may only be good for 6 to 8 months, or a lot of times they're very young and they're going to school. They go to college and they leave. And then you've got this gap now of going, what do I do? And that is why the shared services model is so interesting, is because that actually picks off of our own tree of employees internally, and you're not having to go interview or go chase people. And so that whole hire and fire scenario that can kind of scares everybody when you're talking about, did I hire somebody good? Are they going to quit on me during high season? That kind of thing. That won't happen here because this product, again, is a plug and play solution. And it gets away from the whole hourly push and pull, and it's just a subscription. So it's very simple to understand. It's a per property thing, and you can jump in. And again, it takes that whole stress, especially off of a smaller or medium-sized manager where they don't have to go looking for people all the time, hire and fire. They can even use it seasonally if they want to. And so it's really just there to be a complement to their business and kind of run that orchestration layer more efficiently.
How long does it usually take a small to mid-sized operator to get onboarded with the Extend team if they're going to be doing, just say, call center services? And maybe there's a different onboarding time and process if they're handling statements. Can you walk me through the different pillars or segments that you guys offer?
For
And then how long does it take to onboard? And then what are the economics? What does it cost? You said it was on a per unit basis, or is there a per hour basis? How does it work?
Yeah, that's really great. So to give you some comparison, so when it was just staffing, meaning going and interviewing, finding somebody for somebody and putting it all together, that whole process would take anywhere from about 30 to 45 days to stand up. That's the old model, right? Going into this product with everything already warmed up, we can have a property manager with 100 plus units or whatnot onboarded anywhere from between 5 to 10 days. It just depends on how proactive they are to connecting, and also whether they have a property management software that we're just going to connect into, and then we're going to rock and roll that way. So it's a much shorter time span. And then a lot of it comes down to the constant learning that the product does as well. Obviously, there's going to always be nuances with every product property manager, meaning like different questions that guests might ask and whatnot. And the system itself learns that, builds new rules around it, and then is able to auto respond on those things later, as long as it isn't something that requires a human to get involved with. Just like every other AI tool, it's a learning machine. It's constantly evolving. And again, that's where the efficiency comes in. We can tag in and we can just get the ball rolling pretty quickly in about a quarter of the time.
And quarter of the time being what?
So instead of 30 to 45 days to have staff, you can be up and going and is at most like in 10 days. We've had
Okay.
people do it within 3 days, depending on how proactive they are.
And what about back-end services? Because the Extend team offers back-end services, right? So
Mhm.
statements, accounting.
Yep.
What else? What are the different pillars that you guys offer? I know there's obviously the guest facing. I'm going to make sure that you get into the property. If you got a problem, you can call me. There's an AI tool that I'm using to help me figure out what to say and do. Okay. But then there's accounting, there's statements. What else does Extend Team offer?
Yeah. Quite frankly, if you're willing to do the staffing side of the business, we can pretty much do anything. We have one property manager as an example that wants cars wrapped. They just want their cars wrapped. And so we went out and actually sourced somebody to be able to go and wrap their vehicles for them. They're a rather large property management outfit.
You guys offshore? Yeah, how'd you get somebody to?
So it depends on what you're doing. So if you're using the shared services model, that thing is going to be just straight up operational day-to-day stuff. That's guest communications, turnaround time, check in, check out, reservation management, those kinds of things. If you want a bookkeeper or somebody specialized in your business and actually in your business, then you would use what you would call the direct to market model, which is what's existed up to this point. You can hire for anything that you need to. We source it, then that's the 30 to 45 day turnaround, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. And what do you charge? What's the pricing model? And I'm sure there's scale, but to
Mhm.
start off with, what's the base price and then how does that scale up?
Yeah, good question. So the pricing goes anywhere from about 25 a unit to $100 a unit, and that comes down to what you need. So you can have a version that doesn't have people in the loop. You can have a version that does have people in the loop, and you can have an off hours package, which means we're only handling everything after 5 and on the weekends. And so
Uh-huh.
those are the three major packages through the shared services model. It's really down to whether you want somebody, and when I say no voice, what I mean is that there's still somebody human answering the text communications. They're just not picking up the phone. And then there's the version where they do pick up the phone. So that's where that whole enterprise size and scale is the question. It's, do you need somebody answering the phone, or do you have that part covered? Are you just swamped and you need somebody to take care of all the Airbnb responses? Then those two packages can bob and weave for you, and you can pick what you need.
And is that flat across your entire inventory, or as you scale, say you're at 20 units when you're operating and maybe you're right in the middle, you're priced out at 75 bucks. So you're not
Mhm.
25, you're not 100, but you got services in there, but maybe you grow to 500 units. Is there a price per unit discount for
Mhm.
scale, or how does that work?
It goes everywhere from 1 to 10 units, and then it goes to 20 to 50, then 50 to 75, 75 to 150. It just moves in stages. And the team's willing to work with you too as well, because we're watching all this stuff margin wise too as well. Because the one big question mark that we all have right now with AI is how much of AI is going to actually take over this. Because if AI takes over 90% of the business, then the margins for the business are very high. And that allows us to be able to bring the price down. If it's a very handheld situation, maybe it's a luxury company or something like that, where it's 40% of the time there needs to be a pickup on the phone, that can change too. So we're willing to adjust with your business needs and how the product's actually performing too, just so you know.
So you're doing all this work and it sounds like you're integrating AI. How big of a investment are you guys making into AI? And how are you thinking about that from the staffing point of view? Are you deciding where uh, to continue to invest into AI and where to continue to invest into human capital and shared services?
Absolutely. Right now, as it stands, just in percentages, we're spending 2 to 5% of the cost that we did previously when it came to operational efficiency and how to do all this, right? Because everything before was actually hiring people and doing everything manually. And now we're switching from a manual structure to something that's automated. And obviously, we're into it year one, so we'll need a year full of historicals to get the full kind of flesh out of what it really looks like. But what I can tell you is out of the gate, the cost of doing business is going down, and it's going down fairly rapidly, which is quite interesting. I can tell you that the when I came in at the 30 days ago, the product had really gotten its legs. And even in these last 30 days, I've watched the operational margins increase by $3 a unit, which to me is actually a very big deal. That was like, that's solid. And part of that was because the team had rolled out a few more AI features, the learning piece on the back end, just trying to help automate a lot of that learning model that already exists in the space anyways, so that people are having to go back and edit everything. We're being able to catch it, tell the property manager, hey, this is what we caught. They approve it, and then we add it to their knowledge base, basically.
Mike, do you work with co-hosts all the way up to enterprise, or is there a minimum unit count that you have to have?
No, you can go from 1 to 1 million. If you got 1 million units, come talk to us. If you got one, we can do that too. We are going to, just so then just full transparency, we are going to roll out an AI only model at some point in the next couple of months, or just because it's for the people that, especially that are seasonal, maybe they just want to turn that piece on for a little bit, and that's fine. And they can stay with the same company. They don't have to run around and have multiple buckets of stuff. We're trying to keep this as solidified as we can.
Interesting. Are you afraid, Mike, that will end up cannibalizing your shared services model?
Not necessarily. It really only takes one or two instances where it costs you 10, 20, 30, 50 grand with a bad guest experience with AI before you go, whoops, I better either hire somebody internally or find a solution. And that bite is starting to happen more and more now. Again, it's because everything's so new, right? Everybody's just now they're getting into this thing now. So we're just now starting to get good data. But we've already seen it on our side a couple of places. And why they came to us is they said, look, we had one person. They didn't know how to call the fire department. They started a barbecue and it caught on fire and it burned just the corner of the house, but that was like $100,000 in damage. And they're like, that could have been avoided if we would have had an extend team piece in, because then somebody would have picked up the phone and the fire wouldn't have gotten as out of hand as it did. It just was
Yeah.
vacation brain, somebody just not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Long story short. So it's those little things that matter. It's those small little steps. And even people like Justin Ford will tell you those, like those safety pieces and all that's like those little things can amount to big issues. And you need somebody that can facilitate that, especially if you're asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I don't see it cannibalizing. What I do see is that both products can complement themselves in one of two ways. One would be, I don't want to spend 25 or 30 or $100 a unit right now. I just want to tiptoe into this thing. Okay, here's a version just to get used to the AI piece. You get used to that, then you can try the other services as you go. Or The second piece is you're seasonal, right? You don't need people on the phones during this time of the year, but you may get a booking here and there, and the AI can help assist the check-in and check-out stuff, and we'll just leave it on because more than likely the AI only portion will probably be pay as you play for that reasons. That it's just use it when you need to, don't use it when you don't need it. It's flexibility. That's the thing about AI and companies that I've learned over the last little bit here and also consulting for some other AI companies is you need to leave flexibility on the table. You can have your full-on big product, you can have kind of the middle product that gets you stepped in, and then you have this one that just says, look, it's zero until you use it. Having those three buckets is super critical in making sure that you have a business that's going to work with it, I think.
Mike, if I'm a property manager and I want to get a hold of you and figure out how to drop my operational cost, make sure that I'm taking good care of my guests and my homeowners, how do I reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So on every single page on extendteam.com, there is a either book a demo button or there's a contact us button. And you can go directly to extendteam.com, just like it sounds. If you need to reach out to me personally, I will actually leave my email here as well for more information if you'd like, which is mike.mears, MEARS, at extendteam.com.
Mike, thanks so much for coming on. With AI happening and with the shortage of labor in the force right now, Extend Team is really a great solution. We see a lot of our own franchisees turning to it, making sure that they're able to staff up and down as needed and take care of a lot of their needs as they go forward, especially in the early days when they just need somebody like you all to come in and step in and help get things figured out. They've relied on you guys heavily through their process. And so really appreciate that. And if you're looking for more information, make sure to reach out to Mike or Extend Team and check out their website and give them a call. Thanks, Mike.
Awesome. Good to see you, Steve.